Hello everybody, welcome once again to the review. Weekly review coming to you a little bit late this week on Monday the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to all of our US traders. Okay, let's begin. We're looking at the S&P 500 chart just to highlight the move last week. Quite an extraordinary week it was. And who would have thought that two austerity votes in Greece could have such an effect on global markets? Of course, there were other factors, but I'm thinking that the sentiment from that vote, the short-term view of the market, is what fueled this bull rally here. So there we can see it on our S&P. You can see that the market was forming a base, and it was just a matter of whether it would hold or whether it would bounce, and it indeed bounced. So let's take a look at euro dollar to begin with. So once again you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles on the chart, which took us perfectly from the bottom of our triangle to the top. So they closed it at the top of the range on Friday, but in Sunday trade and in Monday trade we have broken out, and we're now retesting the top of that triangle. Very high possibility that this is a fake break, so good chance that it will come back into the triangle and continue to trade in a range. However, the uncertainty over Greece continues. There are still many more stages to this process, so be prepared for more volatility going forward. But for now, the bull's most definitely in charge on the euro, although that candle is growing. Dollar Swiss, once again, we know we are sounding like a broken record, and last week, even though there was strength for the dollar, weakness in the Swiss franc against virtually all of its crosses, it still could not break this resistance here. So once again we've tagged and fallen away. Very little movement so far this week. We are only early. I would point out that the UK session has just started, so we're very early on a Monday, a holiday Monday, so any moves today should be they should not hold the weight of a regular move. Mondays have been very low volume recently anyway, so today even more so. Holiday day today. So here we have our dollar Swiss once again. I know how many people are itching to get long, but as anyone who's been watching our videos knows that we've been shorting this on the spikes for months, and there's no reason to change yet. You want to see a break. You want to see a consolidation above the break. You want to see some sort of fundamental driver aligning with the technicals, especially for this, such a severe downtrend. Cable, opportunity for a trade here. I mentioned it in my newsletter to registers of the website. We've been trading inside this channel, one breakout here. And as predicted, we have broken to the downside. We've come back and we're retesting the bottom of this channel. Now, as we saw earlier, there is a distinct possibility that this will trade back into this channel. However, there is good risk reward on a short from here. You could go short right now with a very tight stop, perhaps 50 points, 70 points, a little more, 100 would be good. And you have significant downside. You have downside going all the way from, say, 160, 115 down to 153.35 perhaps. So there is possibility for a lot of points here. So it's a trade that I'm liking at the moment. Dollar yen. Each week when we look at dollar yen, the trading range for the previous week seems to get smaller and smaller. Last week, the top of the range was 81.25. The bottom of the range was 80.25. That's a 100 pip range over the course of a week. dull, dull, dull. However, what it does mean is that perhaps we are on the verge of something. Now, what I like to focus on is these apexes. If I could just get the chart to do what I want. The apexes here of these triangles. When you trade within a symmetrical triangle like this, the apex is often a significant time. So, no positions, neutral on this, trading within a range. However, when I think it's the 13th of July, we'll hit the apex of this triangle. I will be paying close attention. I'll mention it again next week. One further trade from last week. It's in hindsight, but it is good for you to think about these types of trades. We mentioned it, I believe. We first of all had the euro yen. Okay, so early on in the week, the euro had a strong day on Monday and was right here at the top of this descending triangle. So, as it's been in the triangle for quite some time, it was, a short basically. However, because of the Greek situation, because of the strength the previous day, we weren't happy being naked. So, how can we look to hedge? Well, one of the other charts we were looking at was this, dollar CAD. If we think about it logically, strength in the markets will equal strength for the euro in the current climate, and then weakness for dollar CAD. So what we did is went short on both euro yen and dollar CAD. However, the limit for dollar CAD was set, so we took it early, so took it about here, 98.50, and the limit was set down here at 97.15, so 135 points. Now the risk on this trade was much smaller than 115 points, because once it broke out of the triangle, we simply cut the loss, and if it had come back into the triangle, we could have retaken or ignored it, whatever. But what I'm trying to point out is that on these two trades, trading in opposite risk profiles, one of them is going to be a winner, generally. So we did have some figures out of Canada that helped, and the oil price was helping as well. But when you take these trades, often these things will align. So you can cut the loss early on this, let this one run. Now looking at this chart, we could have let it run, and look, we're way down here now, so it's close to, let's say that would have been 98.50, 96, so that's 250 pips we could have picked up here, but we just stuck to our limit and took it here. There was every chance that it would have bounced off the bottom of this channel. So those type of trades, especially when there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets, can work well. Thank you, everybody. Next weekend we'll be back doing the video once again on Saturday. Hope you're all having a nice holiday weekend. Enjoy it, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.